is going on here?
The peanut butter and jelly effect definitely applies to games, and in 1993 that was no different. When two of my favorite all-time things came together, Sonic the Hedgehog and pinball, the result was the incredible, at least in my opinion, Sonic SPINBALL, released in 1993 by Sega. While also seeing two other watered-down ports for the Game Gear and the Sega Master System, Sonic SPINBALL also had a quote-unquote sequel released in 2003 for the GBA called Sonic's Pinball Party, yet I've never played that game. The development for Sonic SPINBALL took place between when Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was released and right before Sonic 3. Sonic SPINBALL was actually forced upon developer Peter Moravec and asked by Sega to create a smaller Sonic title that could be completed in 6 months due to Sonic 3 not being complete in time for Christmas. Moravec went to the Sega marketing team to pitch back and forth ideas about what could be a good concept for a new take on Sonic. The marketing team informed Moravec that they've noticed in previous Sonic titles that one of the most popular stages were the casino levels, especially the bouncing off the bumpers. Moravec took this to heart and came up with a pinball concept and began development on Sonic SPINBALL. The pitch worked, and Sega's marketing team gave the green light to the pinball concept. Moravec also swooped up friend John Dugan, who was an art director for the game, and designed the graphics for the bonus stages. The game's music and sound effects were created by Barry Bloom and Brian Coboom of Sega Multimedia Studio. You take control of Sonic as the pinball, and Sonic can actually jump at some points, although it's much slower than in previous Sonic games. Through 4 levels, your goal is to collect all of the Chaos Emeralds that serve to stabilize the volcano, the Vejo Fortress, that it's built upon, and subsequently defeat the newly accessible boss enemy located at the top of each level. Some Chaos Emeralds are blocked off by some sort of obstacle that requires certain switches or bumpers to be hit in order to be elevated and create a clear path to the emerald, just like in pinball. The boss enemies at the top of each level require a specific strategy to defeat and are all different. Hint towards such strategies encouraging messages when progress is made are displayed on the status strip at the top of the screen, once again like a real pinball machine, and it's a great effect in my opinion. The music, while not one of the more memorable for the Sega Genesis, is quite good, my favorite being the very first stage as being the most memorable. While not a perfect game, some aspects of the control could be a little more tighter and more accurate to real pinball, but this isn't real pinball, this is Sonic pinball. Its difficulty level may be a bit too extreme for new players, but it's a good option for Sonic fans or pinball fans for that matter. The game does have its fair share of criticism, especially with pinball purists. One Up magazine had an interview with such purists, and they called the game pretty awful and it makes them long for a real pinball table. I don't know if I'd go that far, it's not that awful, I have played much worse pinball games than this. The Game Gear and Master System versions are definitely not even worth checking out. They're choppy, the placement of the 2 flipper buttons right next to each other is awkward and difficult, the graphics frequently blur, and you have very little control over where the ball goes. Without playing the one for the GBA, the one you want to go with is Sonic SPINBALL, the original. This isn't a bad game, it's a fun game, and it really reminds me of my childhood as I spent hours as a kid beating this game. So there you have it, a prime example of taking two things from different worlds when you're at desperate times and calling for desperate measures and pulling something out of your hat and coming up with something that was pretty passable and pretty enjoyable. This is Hibiki History. Check it out next time. We're going to take a look at the Sega Dreamcast.
Hey, what is going on here?